My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me now and we will explore these topics and so much more with fascinating guests, authors, and experts who will guide us to Destination Unlimited. Rachel Corpus is an angel, an actual angel in a human body, who came into physical form to learn and teach how to live a fulfilled life in deep connection with Source. She was born with the ability to experience things that others could not easily see or feel, like watching an angel sing above her crib or playing with ghost children from a nearby cemetery. Early in her life, Rachel experienced her first of many near-death experiences. She remembers going to the other side and being shown what her life could be like if she decided to return as a healer and a teacher of many. After coming back, she experienced her gifts getting stronger and stronger. Daily meditations, study, and absolute faith in God helped Rachel grow into the spiritual person she is today. As a professional channel, Rachel plays fluidly in the quantum realm and the multiverse of parallel realities. She works in collaboration with angels, ascended masters, people on the other side, and high-vibrational extraterrestrials. The best part of Rachel's life today is helping others remember their divinity, uncover their natural gifts, and evolve into their best selves. Her website is rachelcorpus.com, and she joins me this week to share her amazing story. Please join me in welcoming to Destination Unlimited, Rachel Corpus. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you, Victor. So happy to be with you today.
And it's wonderful that you're joining us today and sharing your wonderful and amazing story. Rachel, you knew from the time that you were in the crib that you had special gifts. Please share with us your early life and the events that led to this understanding.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Yes, what a strange thing, but I did know since I was in the crib, because I guess I came in a little bit different, didn't I? I'm an angel incarnate, just as you are, my friend Victor. And when I was laying in the crib, I was able to see all around me beautiful colors and visions of the angels that came with me, who were helping me to remember my divine mission here on this earth, which is to help people remember that they are not separate from the divine light and love that is running, programmed by the divine source within them. And that divine program is that no one here on this earth or wherever you choose to incarnate, you are not separate from each other. You are all one, and you have never, ever, ever been separate from the one, the creation that created you. And you, at one point, all of you listening, you made the brave and wonderful choice to incarnate here on this earth or someplace else to both learn and contribute to the universe, to expand in consciousness. And each angel, whether it's me or another angel incarnate, has their own special message or mission. And that's simply mine. And so, yes, when I was a little tiny baby, I already had coherent messages or memories, awareness that I was here to do something special.
You've had several near-death experiences. What was the first one like, and what did you learn?
The first near-death experience happened when I was 4 years old. My family was coming home from a movie, and we were hit by a drunk driver. And in my little body, I was experiencing severe head trauma, but the spirit part of my body was back home in the heavenly realm. And my guides, or my angels, were busy telling me, oh, now let's take this time to remind you of where you're really from. Now, I had two understandings happening at this time. I remember hearing a grown-up voice, and that was really startling. And after a few moments, I realized the grown-up voice was me. It was the grown-up angel. And then I still had my other understanding, which was my 4-year-old self. And she would pop in and say, well, if I stay here, can I still play house? Can I still run and climb trees? Can I still talk to the frogs? It's quite the tomboy. And they said, well, sure, but we don't have much time, so let's keep going. And they took me to the seraphim realm. And this is where the unborn babies are. And this is where all the wisdom is held, because even though the unborn babies are there, these are the wise souls. And so they are deciding, well, what will I take in with me when I'm about to incarnate? What wisdom do I take with me? And sometimes these babies have just gotten back because they have possibly been aborted or they have miscarried. And so they are bringing back their wisdom from that experience. So I was walking in what I'd like to call the maternity ward, and they were showing me all of that. And I was having the chance to both see something that I thought was new, but as I walked through, I was remembering, oh, this is my workplace. I remember this. Oh, there's my locker. Oh, there's my desk. Oh, this is beautiful. I remember. And at some point, the guide said, well, you can stay here and keep living, fulfill your mission, or you can go back and fulfill that mission, which is really what I spoke out about earlier, sharing those messages. And I really, honestly, Victor, I didn't make a choice. My 4-year-old self popped back in, and I remembered how sad my mama would be if I didn't come back. And as soon as I remembered that, whoosh, I was right back in my human body. And that was my first near-death experience.
Are there other dramatic NDEs that you can share with us?
Yes. There was one quite amazing near-death experience where I was taken from my body and was hovering above, and I turned a certain way. I was having heart issues at this time, and I turned a certain way, and I was able to look into this control room. This control room had a series of computers that both looked like they were from the 1950s or 60s, but at the same time, they were glorious. They were high tech. I'm going to say they were understated, but I knew they were doing something amazing. And this room was beautiful. And I saw, looking through this big window, I could see my body on the bed. I was a grown-up now. This was just about 3 years ago. And my husband sleeping next to me. And I had felt the drawing away from my body. I could feel my spirit leaving. And that swiftness of my essence or my spirit leaving my body felt wonderful. It was not painful. It was the best feeling. And my emotions went from, oh, what's happening to me? Oh, I don't have time to grab my phone. What is happening, to, oh, absorbing back into the glorious oneness of everything. And then all of a sudden, turning and looking at this wonderful computer room and being delightfully confused and seeing this woman standing in front of behind a computer, and then a man standing behind another computer, and then just knowing that the woman was controlling me and the man was controlling my husband. And then one of them saw me, the woman, and we locked eyes, and I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. And we just had a moment together, and as soon as we saw each other, I went back in my body. Now, my body was fine. It turned out to be high anxiety, and my physical body was just fine. But when I sat with my guides, my angels, and I asked them what that was about, they said, Rachel, we needed a chance to let you see what everyone's talking about when they refer to the matrix. People are getting really confused about what that means. Now, we have guides, and the guides are working hard to keep this universe moving. And there are elements, there are timelines that are computer run. But you must understand that that's a consciousness. And there are timelines that are quite quantum mechanical in nature, and you saw one. But we want you to know that what you saw was a version of your higher self. And Edward, your husband, a version of his higher self. And we want you to know that you always have choice and that no one is locked into this existence. You always have choice. And we wanted you to see that because there are so many people on this earth right now that feel that they are stuck and that no matter what they do, they are just perpetuating this idea that they are lost or they've been abandoned or that they are ruled by a God that they must wait on and that they are not worthy of. When in fact, you saw two beings that love you and are waiting on you quite literally to wake up, roll over and see them and order off a menu what it is you wish for your life. And Victor, that was very life-changing for me. When I got back, actually, I was quite depressed for a while. It led to some nihilism where I thought, before I had that conversation with my guides, I thought, well, this is all it is. This is just some computer game. I'm out. I don't want to do this. But then I had the wherewithal to go into meditation. And this meditation was not pretty. This was, okay, come on, guys, prove it. If this is what we're doing, where's God in all of this? And I really had to dig deep. That was a very interesting near-death experience because I saw a different aspect of what some may call the afterlife.
How and when did you recognize that you were an angel in a human body?
I suppose I knew that I was different from the very beginning. I've always known because I could do things that I just knew, Victor. I mean, when I was little, I could partially walk through. There was one time that I was teeny tiny and I was up in the night. I think maybe I was 3 and I was half asleep and I was walking to the bathroom and I missed the door. Door was open. I missed the door and I walked through the wall. And then I woke up and I got stuck in the wall. And then in our big old house, something happened where the loudest crack you could ever imagine, you could hear that crack, and then I fell out of the wall. And I remember my dad and mom came running out of their bedroom down the hall, and my dad cussed, and he said, "What the hell was that?" And I knew it was me falling out of the wall. And there was a crack on the wall that wasn't there before. And I knew every time I walked by, I did that, but I didn't know how. I knew. And I would have dreams that I was flying. And when I woke up, I was downstairs instead of in my room. And I could bring birds back to life. I could do these things. I knew that I was different. And as I grew up, I wanted to be the same. I didn't want to be other. I wanted to be the same. Didn't want to be weird. But it wasn't until my near-death experience at 4 years old that the angel said, "Listen, honey, you are an angel. You are a seraphim." That I really knew that's my title. And it's funny because angels don't love labels, they don't love titles, but sometimes you just need to know who you are. And that's been very important to me.
Absolutely.
I suppose that's the best answer I can give you.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. You work in collaboration with other angels, ascended masters, people on the other side, and high vibrational extraterrestrials. How do these connections take place, and what do these various beings share with you?
Well, we create these meetings through vibrational frequency, which sounds real fancy, but it's not. We do it all the time. Every person does this. We vibe with each other. So just like a text message can come through on your phone, we can do this people to animal, angel to angel. So with the extraterrestrial beings, for example, I have this group of beings that I call Sarai that I've talked to my whole life. And what I do is when I can feel them around me, I feel it in my spine or in my heart. And it's no different than sometimes I can feel one of my sons has walked in the room, but I can feel him before I can see him because I know him. Or I get the sense that if someone's calling, sometimes I know who it is before I pick up the phone, just because that person has that vibe. Well, we're connecting to their vibrational frequency. Or we know what an orange tastes like because we've had an orange. That's a frequency. And so in order to connect with the extraterrestrials, I sit with that frequency. Or if I don't know the frequency, I ask for it. I'll say, I'm not afraid. I would really like to connect with you. Here's my frequency. And so I will sit in my frequency and I will allow my aura around me, like the shape of a jelly bean. I'll allow that to get as big as the universe. And that's like my phone call to them. And I'll just sit in that. Sometimes I'll repeat my address. I'll repeat my intention, why I'm calling. And then I'll wait for the feeling that they are calling me back. Then I'll wait for directions. Do they want me to go out on my porch and look for them in the sky? Are they going to visit me in my bedroom? Do I need to go down to my office? What kind of visit will it be? Are they going to be in the room with me? Is this in my mind's eye? Will it come through art? Will I taste something, smell something? What kind of visit will it be? And so the way they help me is any way that I wish. Sometimes I desire to pay a bill. And so I will say to my angels, my ancestors, the extraterrestrials, I'm experiencing a human moment of fear. And I don't wish to feel that. Can you help me transmute it? Can you prove to me that I'm here to experience this human life right now, but I don't like it. I'm worried about this bill. Can you help me with that? Show me. So then I work with them. Sometimes I'm helping a client and I'll say, could you help me get out of the way? So I'm only getting the information for this client. Show me the best way to help them. And when I get out of the way, I can effectively connect with the energy of that person's father on the other side or their angel on the other side. Or I can connect with the frequency of their money block.
This is what could be described. This is actually what you would describe as channeling. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Is it possible for you to channel a message from Spirit for us now?
Sure, I would love to. Thank you for asking. Is there anyone in particular that you would like me to channel? Is it Jesus or an archangel or anyone that comes to mind, Victor, that you'd like me to? Because I channel literally anyone in the universe.
One of my personal experiences has been a connection with Archangel Gabriel.
Oh, I love Gabriel. All right. Yes, absolutely. And Gabriel is so wonderful to connect to when we are wanting assistance with our communication, our relationships. Okay, Gabriel is actually coming through first with a couple of symbols for me. One, he's wearing spurs, like a cowboy spurs, and he's saying to everyone listening, he says, be mindful that when you speak, your words can be piercing. This is a time to speak clearly and gently. We don't need to speak with shock value anymore. It's not necessary. It's not the way anymore. We're now in the way of peace. And everything you say will be more powerful when it comes from a place of love. And so you can take those spurs off. There's no need to motivate with pain. That time is done. And then he gives me another symbol. And it's this cool, fresh water he's taking from, he's got this clay pitcher of water. He's pouring it on his horse. I've never seen him on a horse, by the way. That's interesting. He's pouring it on the horse, and the horse goes from a dirty brown to white. And he says, now is the time to really fold into knowing ourselves, wash off all of the layers, wash off it's not dirt. It's life. Own that. Love it. I notice when he washes off the dirt, there are basins collecting it as if it's going to be made into bricks and housing. It's good. It's good, solid dirt. Oh, we like it. It's not to be wasted. But then I look at the horse that he's washing, and now it's bright white. And he says, go ahead and do this for yourselves. Wash off the layers. The layers you wash off are wisdom, goodness, trauma. Yes, welcome to Earth. But then what you have underneath, if you give yourself a chance to see what is underneath everything, this is where you get to see your core. Who are you as spirit underneath all of the labels, underneath everything that you've come here to learn? Now it's time to dig deeper. Go ahead and wash away. And I'll be with you. And so if you'd like to sit with me, just say, Gabriel, I ask you in. Gabriel, show me who my counselors are. Show me who my mirrors are. Show me the people in my life who are leading me in the direction of my learning themes.
A message from the messenger through the messenger.
Yes, from Gabriel. He gave me a kiss on the cheek.
My guest is Rachel Corpus. Rachel, please share with us where we can find out more about you and your amazing work.
Well, I have a podcast that I get really excited about, and it's called Angel Talk. And it's on the mindbodyspirit.fm network or wherever people find their podcasts. And then I have a website, rachelcorpus.com. And I'm on social media, Facebook, Instagram, all the places.
And we'll be back with more of Rachel after these words on the Om Times Radio Network.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, Om Times Radio, IOM FM. Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Om Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Back on Destination Unlimited, my guest this week is Rachel Corpus. So, Rachel, through all the connections that you described, you came to understand your mission. What is that mission, and how do you manifest it?
My mission is to be a messenger for Source. And that messenger, or that message that I get to share, is that every person here, not just person, but every being, is connected to Source directly. And we don't need another person or a go-between to connect us back to source. However we describe God or source, we are directly connected to our creator. And then I have another message that I am directed to relay. And that message is every choice we make gets to be rooted in absolute love. And if we're making a choice that's not directly rooted in love, we simply get to stop and readjust. No judgment, just stop and readjust. And how I manifest those choices, well, to be honest, in my mission, I'm half remembering and I'm half reading it right now. It's like a job description. To be honest, it's by living my life, because one might think that an angel incarnate has it easy, and that is just not true. When I said yes to coming back, that was saying yes to living a human life, and it's been full of hardship. I've had a regular human life. Saying yes to having that human experience with the angel essence inside me as my origin. The first part of my life has really been about experiencing as much trauma as possible, because if I haven't, then I don't know how to assist other humans. And that's been difficult. But I've done it. And I will continue to do it. I'm sure there will be more, because Earth is our school. This is the dimension that we incarnate onto so that we can learn as much as we can. And there are other dimensions, other planets that we can go to where there's not as much learning. It's all high vibrational frequency. This is the one that's neutral or lower. And there's positive stuff here too, of course. So mostly the way my mission has shown up for me so far is by just living by example. Now, I also trained to be a teacher, and I've been to seminary. I was a minister, and I worked in family and children ministry in the religious part of the world for a long time. I was an opera singer. And I really thought that utilizing my voice in teaching and singing and church would work. And it did. It fit until it didn't. But as I grew and blossomed, what was growing was an authentic life where I could say, I'm working for God and no one else. And I'm fully authentic. I am an angel. I am a channel. And I wouldn't default into, and I do this during the day, and I'll keep my light dim to make this person comfortable. I finally realized that if I were to fully trust Source and say, well, you said it would be okay, and I agreed to this. So if we are in full agreement and I say yes, it will be okay. And as soon as I followed that track, everything got really easy. Well, no, not easy, but good. Not easy, but good. And that's the way it manifests.
I attended an interfaith seminary in the late 1990s. And the founder, the teacher, used to share this wonderful message. He would say, everything is unfolding in divine order. He would say, we may not see it, we may not understand it, but ultimately, there was a higher purpose for everything that was taking place. Do you agree with that message?
Indeed. Yes, indeed. I agree. If I look back to everything that has happened, I would not replace a thing. Everything is unfolded in perfect, right, divine timing, perfect, right, divine order, and it still will. And I believe that about everything that's happened in the world.
Absolutely. He said, we may not understand it and we may not see it with our human eyes, but if we look with our spiritual eyes, we'll understand.
Absolutely.
Do all human beings have the ability to connect with angels?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because we literally are all made of spirit, of the same stuff. So we can connect to trees, we can connect to babies, we can connect to angels. Yes. And every person has their very own guardian angels who are assigned just to them. So you can say internally, angels, I love you. I'd like you to be more active in my life. That gives them permission to go from your best cheerleaders to actual participants in your life. You can say it out loud. You can say it internally. But really giving them permission to activate in your life is huge. And they are waiting for you to do that. When you're not in a body, when you're not incarnate, when you are fast asleep, when you're in surgery, when you're passed out, there are times that you actually remember your angels. But when you're awake and your free will takes over, that's part of the deal. When you're incarnate, you don't remember your angels because you're here to learn. So free will takes over. So when you give your angels permission, then you start to collaborate a little bit more. You're still in charge, or so you think. Your free will takes over. But really, if you're in the spiritual world, then you start to co-create with Source. And your helpers are your angels. They don't ever replace Source. They're your helpers. And then there are other angels like the archangels who are not limited to time and space. You can talk to them out loud or internally. There are worker angels that are often assigned to things like a building being built, or if someone has a paper that's coming to be due, a worker angel will be assigned to that. Even a carpet being threaded, worker angel. There are angels literally everywhere, and there are different elemental beings. There are, we have the multiverse is real and is around us. Quantum metaphysics is proving that now. So we have different types of beings that are, just to name a few that are from our current lexicon, we have unicorns, we have the Fae, we have Jinn, the wish granters. Those are real. Those have vibrational frequency. We have extraterrestrials. So we have all this beautiful slow disclosure that are getting ready, helping us get ready to interact with the extraterrestrials in a way that's not going to shock us, so that we can collaborate. This really is the season for loving collaboration. So yes, everyone can talk to their angels. We're designed to.
You offer 5 tips on how we may access the quantum realm, time travel, and hidden knowledge. Would you share those with us?
Whoa, okay. Well, I would say one of my favorite things to do, I'll do this. One of my favorite things to do to access the quantum would be to find some music that I would consider to be hemiwave or binaural beats or binaural. And so that would be one pitch in one ear, and then in the other ear, a pitch that's highly or just slightly different, so that you're getting that sense in one ear to the other that is entraining your brain. And you can get that on YouTube, hemiwave or binaural. When you go to YouTube and you look at hemiwave, you might find the gateway process from the Monroe Institute. I would highly encourage people to look into that, because helping your brain remember the gifts that you have had from other lifetimes, where you came in psychic, you didn't block that from yourself. That's a tip right there, is just helping yourself remember the capacity of your brain to be psychic. So hemiwave, binaural beats, and then looking behind your eyelids in that black space, as if you're looking at a room that's lost power. That is the quantum realm. You were there in the womb, you were there before, and you have access to it every time you close your eyes. But we have created this system here on Earth where we're always hustling. We're so busy that we don't look at the quantum. We close our eyes and we go to sleep, or we close our eyes and our mind is so busy that we're not seeing the quantum. So when we close our eyes and we put white noise or the hemiwave or the binaural beats, and then we look behind our eyelids, just like the room has lost power and we're trying to find a flashlight and we're really looking in that space, that three-dimensional space, then we start to see what is in that quantum realm, and it is a live space. We don't know who's in there. Anybody could be in there at that time. The angels sometimes joke and call it the waiting room at the airport. So you might see faces, you might see neon-looking lights, you might see stars. If you are in there and you let your body kind of just float, then you'll start to even tunnel, and you'll go in a wormhole, and you'll be able to go into another three-dimensional space. And this is different than dreaming. This is even different than astral travel. You'll go to different places. With practice, you'll be able to say to your guides and to yourself, I would like to go to my highest, best timeline, and I would like to integrate that into this timeline. You could say, I would like to visit a version of myself where I already encountered this issue that I'm dealing with at work, or I would like to go to a timeline where I'm fully abundant, and I would like to bring that feeling here. There's so many things that you can do in the quantum that are so sacred and ethical and fun.
Beautiful.
Because it belongs to you.
Beautiful. Many of us have a sense of past lives and soul agreements. What can you share with us about that?
Yes, makes me excited to think, why are we here, and why are we around the people that we are around? Like, why do I get to talk to Victor today? Well, I'll tell you, Victor, that as an angel incarnate, one of the coolest things that I love about my life is that I have access to all my past lifetimes and all my parallel lifetimes. Now, I don't see them running like movies all the time. I have to look a certain way or get into a certain frequency to see them. But as an angel, I do know who I've been and where I've been. And by knowing that, I've been able to research and ask the guides, what is the purpose of coming back and being in contract or agreement with all these other people that we keep coming back with? And they've told me that we have a certain group of people that we tend to come back with over and over because we're in these contracts of helping each other, recognizing each other and helping each other and over, because as we work through certain karmic patterns or themes, we have success with each other. Even if it's a perceived failure, it never is. As we grow, the energy of that growth moves out of us like sound waves, and it goes out to everybody else, and everybody else in their circles. As they grow, it goes out to us, and we're always bouncing off of each other. And then we remember that nobody's separate, and we're actually part of the same source. So we've got this idea that we incarnate with the same group of people over and over. Now, granted, I may not always be the daughter, but I might be the mom one time, or I might be the husband one time, whatever serves us best. But every time we keep coming back, hopefully we get a little wiser. We have a little more fun. And then at some point, we'll probably decide, well, that's enough. We don't need to keep doing that. And so these contracts help our angels keep us on track as well. So they'll say, well, I know there's free will there, but they did give us permission before they were born to help us tell them, well, that addiction pattern's getting pretty sloppy. So we'll bring in ex-wife number 1. We'll put her in this place. There's a little direction there with the contracts. But yeah, I've been able to see how powerful these soul groups are. And it looks like we have about 20 to 25 soulmates that we keep incarnating with. And then we have secondary soulmates. And then it keeps kind of moving out to third soulmates, even people we pass on the interstate. We've even seen those people in other lifetimes. Fascinating stuff.
As I've been doing these shows, especially over the last 5 years, I've been doing them since 2016, but over the last 5 years, I start these interviews, and within a couple of minutes, I say to myself, I've traveled with this person before. This is Soul Family. And I'm having that sensation with you, so thank you.
And thank you.
My guest, Rachel Corpus, will be back with more after these words on the Om Times Radio Network.
Humanity Healing International is a small nonprofit with a big dream. Since 2007, HHI has been working tirelessly to bring help to communities with little or no hope. Our projects are not broad mandates, nor are they overnight solutions, but they bring the reassurance that no one is alone and that someone cares. To learn more, please visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Back on Destination Unlimited, my guest this week is Rachel Corpus. We're talking about her life as an angel in human form. Rachel, you've said that there are a new generation of awakened children that you call masters in little bodies. What's their purpose?
Oh, they are here to be our teachers and to help us cross the hump or cross the bridge into awakening. So these children, I started to notice them when I was teaching. And I was teaching, last time I was in the public school classroom, would have been daily teaching. It would have been in 2007. So it's been a while. I first started to notice that there were kids that were really withdrawing from classes, and I was teaching music. I had 5th through 12 choral music. And I noticed that I was having a lot of kids come into my class that weren't even signed up for music, but they just needed a place to just be. So that was fine. I had space for them, and they were just coming in and just listening to music and doing their study hall work, and they just needed a place. But then I started to see a culture of kids who were getting in trouble and needed a safe place to be. So I started to observe them because I never saw them in trouble, not when they were with me. And I kind of started to follow them around. And there were other classes when they were getting in trouble. And I realized these classes where they were getting in trouble, they weren't interested in these classes, but they were getting good grades in these classes. I started to connect the dots, as I still am today. What seems to be happening is the public school system, it's not matching the kids as much as it could be. And dare I say, as a child who was raised by teachers and is very passionate about teaching myself, there were classes that were not aligning with the children because they knew more. They already came in knowing the information, and these kids didn't want to go to classes because they knew that by the time they got out of school, these classes would be null and void. This information would be old. So they were in technology classes that even by the end of the year, stuff was invalid. And there were rules going on at the school that no one was explaining to them. They were getting responses like, because I said so, because we're in charge. And these children, these young adults, they were asking for more communication. They were asking for collaboration. They were being kind of herded by an older generation. And then there were other things going on too, like poverty and hunger. And some kids just couldn't learn because they had hungry bellies. And that was something that was hard to fix in itself. So now, current 2025, that has escalated to quite a degree because we have so many children who are choosing to incarnate at a time when the angels say so many systems are crumbling. But Archangel Azrael says, this is not negative. This is progress. And when I was in the school system way back then in 2007, I was just starting to see a few pebbles crumble from the top of the building. I was just starting to see that mortar starting to crumble from in between the bricks. But now the whole building is starting to crumble. The foundation is starting to crumble because the school system no longer matches even the teachers. Those kids grew up. They're the teachers now, and it still doesn't match. So we're starting to see things like the church systems crumble, the money system crumble, the government, the schools, because those kids grew up. And where they weren't listened to then, all right, well, everything in divine right timing. It just wasn't time, but now it's time. And it's not that people aren't listening. It's that it's time to listen. And there hasn't been a time yet for the new structure to be built, but it's being built right now. It's being built as they want it to be built. And there's such collaboration happening that Azrael and Gabriel have been working so hard to both work with so many different types of people and different generations to help them communicate together. And then Archangel Azrael, who usually shows up as the angel of death, who says, no, there's no dying here. This is a renaissance. This is total change. People will be grieving because change is hard. But this is why all these kids are coming in as the teachers, because they're ready. And I don't think, this is Rachel speaking, Rachel the angel speaking, I don't think it's going to be easy, but I do think it's going to be good. And I used to think that we wouldn't see these changes until, I had grandkids. My kids are young adults now. I don't think that's right. We're going to see it soon, in the next 20 years. And I don't think it needs to come through war. We are in the 1,000 years of peace now. We're in the age of Aquarius. But these kids are coming in and they already know how to lead. And so our job as spiritual adults, and that could mean in adult bodies who are willing, or people who have incarnated a bunch of times, souls who have incarnated, it's not our first rodeo. Our job is to be quiet and observe and ask questions, and not to bulldoze and say, this is the way it should be. No, we've got to let them lead because they know. And then to ask them, how do you need our support? And then to gently correct when there's that sense of entitlement or pride, because they are young and they do need us. How do we collaborate? That's what I'm hearing Gabriel say. Be ready to collaborate. It's an exciting time.
And support and encourage them also.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. You share that we're moving from a global community to star people, and that gives us a new understanding of what it means to be human. Please explain.
I believe I've been seeing these visions of people with markings on their body that they didn't know they had, like a little bit below their skin, almost like an iridescent tattoo or a beautiful birthmark. And it's like they wake up and they've had a very lucid dream that they have it on their wrist or on their chest or by their belly button. And I don't see this as symbolic. People are actually remembering, oh, I have a starseed marking. And it's not coming through, quizzes on Instagram. It's them having these beautiful visits from their starseed family. And people are remembering who they are as spirit, their spirit origin. And this will no longer be, oh, this is who I am, so I'm better or I'm different than, because everybody here on Earth is from somewhere. Nobody's human. Everybody's wearing this beautiful tailored human costume. But if we were to all unzip that and looked at who we are, I'm nothing special as an angel. No way. Everybody's something amazing. Everybody. And that makes us all the same. And that's what we're going for. That's what we're moving toward. So I've been seeing these beautiful visions of people waking up and they're feeling their back like, I had wings. I just had a dream that I had wings and it was so real. Where did they go? They must still be there. Or today I was walking around and I felt the itch of wings coming in. Those things are going to become more and more common, and people will not be able to shake it because it won't be that fuzziness of a dream. It will be so real. And the point seems to be from the guides and the galactic councils and Source. So when I talk directly to Source says, because I love so much, I want you to know your worth. It's time to know your worth. It's time to remember. And then when I say that, the top of my head, like where if you put a stocking cap on, the top of my head just starts to vibrate. Because we're remembering our crown. We're remembering our sovereignty, our purpose.
Is this what you describe as the new Earth?
No, but it's a way to it. It's the first step to it. Once we remember who we are, then all the other facades start to break away. Because there's so much here that we think is real, but it's not. And when I started to really live into being who I am authentically and really, Victor, really know it, my vibrational frequency started to change. My appetite started to change. My demeanor started to change. Everything changed. I started to see glitches in the matrix in front of me. I can manifest quickly. Everything. I can hear animals. I can talk to the trees. And I'm not a magical being. I'm not. I'm a person who is incarnated here. I happen to know my origin, which anyone can. Anyone can. They just need to go to meditation and believe that it's real. But I'm saying, once we know who we are, And we love ourselves enough to believe it. And we promise that we'll do no harm. And we will not convert others. We let other people come to their own way in their own time. And we stay responsible. We are good about it. We are healthy in our mind. We are healthy in our body. Then the world begins to shift around us. Then that's the way through 4D, because that shift moves us into spirit. That's the fourth dimension. Moves out of the 3D, out of the body, moves us into the fourth dimension. Then into the vibrational frequency of peace and love. That's fifth dimension. Then we go beyond, sixth, seventh, eighth, all beyond. So it's a start.
It's a beautiful start. My guest, Rachel Corpus. Rachel, one more time, please share with us where we can find out more about you and your wisdom.
Well, I'd love to invite you all to my podcast. It's Angel Talk on the mindbodyspirit.fm network or anywhere you get your podcasts. Or you can go to my website, rachelcorpus.com.
Rachel, thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of this wonderful wisdom today.
And thank you. And thank you to your listeners.
And thank you for joining us on Destination Unlimited. I'm Victor, the Voice Furman. Have a wonderful week.